Hello kids, this is Mr. Whistler with your video lesson of the day. And today we're going to be talking about the ironclads, war at sea. Our first vocab word is blockade runner. Kids, a blockade runner is a ship that sails into and out of blockades. A blockade is where ships set up a perimeter around a coastline and don't let any other ships in or out. A blockade runner is one of those fast ships that gets through that blockade. Word number 2 is ironclad. Armored naval vessel. Here's a picture of an ironclad. This looks like the Merrimack. And that's the monitor right there in the front. A metal ship. All right, Lincoln, one of the first things that he did when the war broke out was ordered a blockade of all southern ports. Now this was not going to be very easy because it was 3,500 miles of coastline. And one of the first things the South did was they got some fast ships and they created a bunch of blockade runners, which was going to be hard for the Union Navy to stop because it was so big.
Blockade all the southern ports.
This blockade worked incredibly well, considering how much coastline they had to block. 2/3 of southern trade stopped. In the South, they were short on coffee and shoes and nails and salts and guns and ammunition, and it really hurt their war effort, hurt the people too.
Give me some ammo. Okay, we're in short supply.
Okay, Battle of Hampton Roads, Monitor versus Merrimack. Okay, now the rebels, the South, seized a naval shipyard in Norfolk, Virginia. Remember that Lincoln vowed that he would not give up any United States government property in the South. Well, this shipyard was one of those, and the South took it. And when they got in there, there was a wooden ship. This is it right here in the back. It looks like it has a little tent on top of it. And what they did was they took that wooden ship and they welded iron plates all over the outside of it. And this became the first ironclad warship. Ironclad means made out of metal. So on March 8, 1862, the Merrimack came out of the shipyard and they renamed it the Virginia. So if you hear about the Virginia or you hear about the Merrimack, they're talking about the same ship. And it attacked a group of Union or Northern warships. The battle was part of the Southern effort to break the Union blockade, which had basically cut off Virginia's largest cities from trade, Norfolk and Richmond. Here's a map of the battle. Now the Virginia or the Merrimack went out into this area here and saw this ship, the Constitution, I believe, was the first one. It was the Cumberland. So it saw the Cumberland, came up on it, blasted it. The Cumberland fired back, but their cannonballs bounced off because it was made of metal and it sunk it. And while that was going on, the Union ship, the Congress, saw the battle happening and they were kind of freaking out because then the Merrimack started coming after them. Well, they started blasting it and their cannonballs did nothing and the Merrimack sunk it. So then the Merrimack saw Union ship, the Minnesota, which was another wooden ship, and it was headed after it. And it saw this stuff going on. It was freaking out. It started to run, and it gets stuck on a sandbar. And the Union Navy, they're all freaking out because they think their whole Navy is going to get sunk by this seemingly indestructible metal ship. Well, it gets stuck on a sandbar, but then it gets dark. So the Merrimack can't fight in the dark because they can't see back in those days. So it goes back to port. But the next morning, it comes out to get the Minnesota. But what all these Union ships didn't know is the Union had their own ironclad that was a top secret boat, and it was called the Monitor. And when the Merrimack came out there to start sinking more ships, the Monitor showed up. And they called it a tin can on a shingle because it had a rotating turret on the top. It had one cannon, but it could turn all different directions. And shingle is like what they put roofs, what they make roofs of houses out of. So it's a little flat piece of wood, and it looked like it had a tin can on top. So they both fought each other, and they kept blasting each other with their cannonballs. And on both ships, the cannonballs bounced off because they were made out of metal. So no one really sunk the other one. They ended up leaving. The significance of the battle, the historical significance, was it was the first meeting of ironclad warships, and it changed naval history because from that point on, the United States Navy would start using ironclads for the rest of their history. And that, my friends, is War at Sea, the Battle of Hampton Roads, or the Monitor versus the Merrimack. What you guys are going to do is you guys are going to do another quiz, and I would like you guys to make sure that if you don't know the answers to the quiz, go back to this video until you find the answer. All the answers are in the video. If you